here with reaction, author of now the #1 New York Times best-selling book in the country, Understanding Trump, former Speaker of the House, Fox News contributor Newt Gingrich. Mr. Speaker, another #1 New York Times bestseller. Congratulations. I think this is one of your best books by far.
I'm very excited by it, and I think we've gotten a great reaction so far. I was in the White House today giving out copies of this and getting really a very positive reaction to the whole concept. I think you're basically right about the core reality. If they can pass the right kind of tax cut, and if they can really generate the level of job creation comparable to, say, Reagan, this is all going to become a tremendous victory in 18 and in 20. And I think that they've got to focus in on creating a very big, very deep tax cut. I think that one of the ways to do that is to focus on making it deficit neutral, not revenue neutral. And the difference is a revenue neutral bill has to pay for itself inside the tax code. A tax cut built on a deficit model, which is what we did in 1997, actually uses savings around all the government, savings in reforms, getting rid of certain government surplus properties. All these things are brought in, and that income stream then offsets part of the tax cut. So you get a much bigger tax cut. And I'm hoping that Republicans will go down the road of a very bold, very exciting, and dramatically lower tax base.
You know, I want to go back to this issue of what the president did when remember he tweeted out, he goes, James Comey, I hope you don't lie, that there may be tapes. And the media all assumed, oh my gosh, did the president tape them? Where are the tapes? We need those tapes. And I've known this president now for over a couple of decades. I knew instantly he didn't tape James Comey. I knew it. And I've said it on the air, said it on my radio show. And what he was doing is he was casting doubt in Comey's mind, and I think it had a very profound effect because Comey was more bitter than I think Americans knew, as we now know from leaking for the purpose of getting a special counsel. And in the back of his mind, he had to think, what if there are tapes? And he had to be more honest. But everybody could be, you know, recorded in this time and era of the deep state under surveillance, right?
Sure. Or for that matter, in an age when people have iPhones and smartphones that they can simply tape on their own phone. One of the things I describe in Understanding Trump is this is a guy who automatically pushes back. One of the reasons he does so well with blue-collar workers is they identify with that kind of toughness. So Comey was shoving him. His immediate instinct is to shove back and to say, well, you know, you better be very careful after all. What if you're on tape? And I agree with you. I think that all of a sudden Comey had to take a deep breath and stop and think, well, maybe I better not exaggerate as much as I planned to. And I never thought he had taped it either. But the press, of course, went crazy. The news media gets up every morning and goes, I'm going to go crazy about something Trump did today. I wonder what it is. And they're constantly looking for junk when, as we saw in the special elections, and Trump was actually right. He went back to Pompeo's seat in California. We're 5-0 competing with the Democrats in special elections. And I think that's because all this Washington noise, the American people just reject it. They don't pay attention to it. They refuse to believe in it. I do want to say, though, as a former member of the House, that I know that there are some Democrats who, having lost 5 in a row, are thinking of dumping Nancy Pelosi. I just want to say I hope Nancy stays for at least a decade. I think that she is so helpful to us that I really think it would be sad. You know, we'd have to develop a whole new campaign plan.
Listen, all right. We agree on a lot of things. I totally agree with you. And I don't want to see Chuck Schumer leave either. I think they need to stay exactly where they are. Although, why do I believe that the left would probably even find somebody more extreme than her? So we got to be careful what we wish for here. I want to stay in these tape issues for just a second and some of the revelations that came out with Jay Johnson yesterday, because I thought they were interesting. You know, there's no evidence of collusion. Trump-Russia. He goes into that. Then he talks about no votes were impacted. And then he testified about, on the issue, Why didn't the Democrats take the offer from the DHS? Why didn't they turn their computers over to the FBI? To me, there had to be something that they were hiding. Why did the FBI allow them to get away with that? Doesn't that raise a lot of questions in your mind?
Sure it does. And by the way, Jay Johnson's a very smart, very competent person. And I actually sent him an email yesterday after his testimony and said, very impressive testimony. You know, he came in there, and you and I, frankly, should probably have been smart enough back in January when this first came up to say, wait a second, does anybody really believe that the Obama intelligence system, the Obama Homeland Security system, and the Obama FBI system were so stupid that for 6 months the Russians were doing things and they didn't notice it? And, of course, that's part of what Jay is saying. He's saying, wait a second, I was in charge. None of this happened. Now, I think what that does is it really punctures the Russian balloon and makes it trivial. And here's the problem with Mueller.
By the way, Mr. Speaker, if I worked for President Trump and his campaign, and I thought the Russians had information that would expose Hillary for being a liar, and I said, can you release that? Is that a crime?
It's not a crime, but you wouldn't have said it directly to the Russians. I mean, all you had to do is say it on television.
I don't have contact with them.
Right. I mean,
yeah, I would have said it on television. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, you just say on television, gosh, if they have anything, feel free to let it go. You have to assume the Russian ambassador has people who watch TV. But here's the deeper point I want to get to for a second. You watch. As the Russian stuff collapses, Mueller is going to shift to other topics. Now, that wasn't, supposedly he was appointed precisely to go after the Russian question. And what we're going to discover is, oh, no, they're now going to go after other people. I think that
they already are.
I hope the House and Senate Judiciary Committees are both going to ask Mueller to come in and explain who he's hiring, why he's hiring professional Democrats, why he's hiring headhunters. They don't have to get into the details of the investigation. They just need to get into the details of who he's hiring.
Yeah, we got to go, Mr. Speaker. I want to say one last time. Number one, New York Times, congratulations. You deserve it. The book's phenomenal. Understanding Trump, Amazon.com, bookstores everywhere, Hannity.com.